I grew up believing that if you do not have friends, you are a loser. As a matter of fact, the more friends you are surrounded by, the more worthy you are, the more validation you get externally. And so I made it my sole mission in life to have as many people like me as humanly possible, which means I was a people pleaser. I walked on eggshells. I removed any sort of personal boundaries in order to have people like me. I went through life making sure that I was managing people's emotions enough to where they would not disapprove of me, right? If I couldn't make a friend out of you, at the very least, I wanted to feel that you were friendly with me. Now, it took years to come to the realization that this was rooted in trauma, and that this was codependency, that, I was really operating from a place of fear. It wasn't a joy of friendship, but instead a fear of what it meant to be rejected and isolated. And it would only be later in life where I came to accept that to be by myself with myself is the ultimate freedom. If I am not able to be with myself, I always need to be surrounded by somebody, right? And I love wifey. Now, I spend more time with her than anybody else, which only makes sense to me. If you're about to get into a marriage, it only makes sense that that person right there is your people for real. Like, you want to be with that individual. Not saying that you don't give other people your time or whatever it is, but it's always confused me how some people will give more time to random people, coworkers, colleagues, etc. Like, there's dudes who are busy trying to get a mistress and not even giving time and attention to the woman that they're building with. That blows my mind. It blows my mind. It confounds me. You understand? So I digress. But I've come to a place where I realize that to be by yourself and to be content with your own company is the absolute freedom. And the need for external validation, perpetual, consistent external validation, is hell on earth. And so when I saw a video pop up from a brother by the name of Smart Money Bro, and he has a great channel, right? I found his channel maybe a few months back. And when it comes to finances, he's on point. I've been down financial rabbit holes. I'm really trying to fine tune and hone in my understanding of money and finances, etc. Right? But essentially, when I saw this video pop up, I was like, okay, that's interesting. I'm 54 years old and I have no friends. And at the place I am now in my life, this resonates. I know that this is not a negative message. It's something that's actually deeply positive. Again, perfectly fine to have friends and all the friends in the world, but at what cost? If it costs you your authenticity, if it costs you your mental and emotional bandwidth, I say it's not worth it. And if you cannot be with yourself, that is a hell on earth. So that being said, let's get into a little bit of this brother's video, and I'm going to give my 2 cents as we go along. I saw the first 2.5 minutes. So whatever goes on past there, we just gonna see in real time. Let's get into it.
Now, I have a family, I have a spouse, kids, grandkids,
Guys, I'm 54 years old and I don't have any friends. Now, I have a family, I have a spouse, kids, grandkids, have all that good stuff, right? But I don't have any close friends, and I want to explain on this video exactly why. Let's talk about it. Now, first of all, guys, let me say this, okay? Nothing wrong with having friends, right? I just don't have a lot of super duper duper close friends, and I've never been that way. But for me, I don't know about the rest of you guys watching this, but for me, I get more fulfillment and more joy out of having a small social circle, as opposed to, when you were young, you like to have a lot of friends and be around a lot of people and all that. But for me, I just get more joy. The older I get more joy out of being alone more, right? And I just need less and less people to feel good, right? When you're younger, it's like you have this thing. We have this thing in our society. I don't know about all societies, but we have this thing in our society that says, you should have a lot of friends. And if you don't have a lot of friends, something's wrong with you. And
we are truly programmed for this insatiable need for external validation. And we see it in adult toddlers, right? Adult bodies, toddlers within, where people can't go through life without attention, without somebody's attention. People will be in whole ass relationships, but they need the world to see them and to view them. People will do the craziest things in public arenas just to get some attention. Even if it's negative attention, it's some form of validation. And it's incredible to just, again, witness from the other side now, as a recovered people pleaser, to see just how far an individual can go, a person can go, in order for them to capture the attention of another just so somebody can see them. There's this entire thing of, I want to be seen, I want to be heard. What about seeing yourself or hearing yourself? Like, whatever happened to self-appraisal or self-evaluation, where you say, you know what, this is how I view me, and this is how I'm going to move through the world, as opposed to, okay, how do people view me? Okay, let me move according to that. Okay, how do I get people to view me in this way? There is I cannot explain the level of freedom that comes from knowing that you don't need anybody's approval, including the people that are even closest. I love Wifey. Again, she's my favorite person. But I don't need her approval in order for me to go through this life knowing that I am valuable, that I am worthy. Simple as that. I don't use her in the way many of us have learned to use one another, this unwritten agreement that we have, right? So long as you continue to validate me, I'll validate you. When you stop, then my love will be stripped from you. My love, quote unquote, right? Reward punishment sort of relationships. And so it starts at early ages. Oh, you don't have friends? Did you make friends? Oh, you have no friends. That one has no friends. That one is less than. That one has more friends. Oh, he's more than. Again, I was a kid who had plenty of friends around me. Wow, he just knows how to, make friends, etc. Now I don't even look at that as some sort of, I don't look at it as some sort of ultimate positive, because there was a lot of negative in it. It meant that there was a tendency for inauthenticity, or at least to keep things to myself that I truly wanted to say, or to give when I didn't want to give. And so I became spiteful. I became resentful of people. I became bitter, because I was doing things I didn't want to do. My no was not meaning no. My yes was not meaning yes. And I had to mature to a place where, okay, if I'm going to live a real life, I have to let go of this need for everybody else, to essentially to dictate my identity. But I digress.
This kind of gets beat into our heads when we're in elementary school and we're 8, 9, 10 years old, 15 years. What's the first thing you always ask a 5-year-old when they start going to school? Well, have you made any friends? Do you know any friends? Like, it's a lot of pressure to have this larger social circle of people around you from an early age. But for me, at the age of 54, it gives me personally more freedom and more time to focus on my personal growth. More time to focus on my own hobbies and things that I enjoy and like doing. And it also gives me really more time to think about who I want to help and how I want to help other people. To be honest with you, having less friends really means less problems and less distractions, right?
That's the God honest truth. I don't care what you try to tell me and how you try to twist it. How many of the phone calls that you are having, or the meetups, or whatever it is, are about progressive things and what we're going to build, what we're going to do, or what we're doing that is bettering our own lives as well as, the lives of others? How many conversations of that in comparison or in ratio to complaining, blaming, victimhood, same old story? I hate my job, hate my marriage, hate my this, hate my that. The world is unfair. How many conversations in comparison? Be honest with yourself. How many of the people that you surround yourself with on a daily basis are you having the dark wolf fed as opposed to the light wolf? Right? How many people are edifying your life as opposed to the opposite? And vice versa. How many people are you edifying? How many people are you on the phone with talking about, oh, you won't believe what happened today, girl. Oh, Lord, it was blah, 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 blah. And that's the entirety of it. And I'll be lying to you if I said that I don't still sometimes have those conversations where I find myself veering off into, well, I want to hear this person out. I don't want to seem like I'm insensitive, blah, blah, blah. But I've also got myself to a place where I've weaned my circle. I've trimmed the hedges. You understand me? That there are so few influences to my psyche, and especially right now where I am in life. I'm in a place in life where I just want to build. I want to create. I get asked, how do you create all this content? Because it's what I'm doing. It's what I'm given over to. I have no club, no bar to go to. I have no this and that thing going on outside of what I'm creating, whether it's here or with my family. It's really that simple. And of course, my own personal care, right? Taking care of my body, my mind, educating myself, etc. But besides those things, I have nothing else that I can even get to. I don't have the time, the energy. I don't even know how people who have full-time jobs, this, that, family, how do you make time for so much drama? So much drama. How do you make time for it? How you got so many dramatic episodes taking place at the very same time as you got all these other things going on in your life? All these friends, all these conflicts, all these things going on. I'm cool off that. I got no time for it. I really don't. Not at this time in my life. Maybe in an old age home one day at 99. Not today. Not today.
There's a lot less distractions when you don't have this group of 10 or 20 or 30 people that you have to focus on and you have to put energy into. And I've noticed, as I've gotten older, that my spirit and my soul and my peace of mind has become really more important for me to protect than almost anything else, right? Being able to protect who I am, what I believe in, and the things I do, and my own sanity. I just can't be around any old body, and I just can't be in any old social circle or any old social event, right? I just don't allow myself to be around any old circumstance that's going.
I used to get the thing when I started separating myself from a lot of toxic individuals, etc., or those involved in toxic behaviors, dysfunctional behaviors. I used to get this thing of, oh, well, do you think you're better than us, or, or you think you're somebody, or whatever it was, something around those lines. And back then I used to try to defend myself and say, no, I don't believe I'm better. I'm just, I'm trying to do better for myself. Now I say, man, to hell with that. I do believe I'm better than that. I believe I'm better than living in that way. I believe I'm better than giving my time, energy, and attention that is limited. This life is a vapor. It is fleeting. And so for us to fully live our lives while also engaging, entertaining in all this useless nonsense does not make sense. It does not make sense to not be given over to your purpose, to not be given over to the relationships that you're actually building as opposed to some side quest, Like I see people, it's like, okay, they're dating, but what are you dating for? You're not going towards a relationship. Then what's the point of even doing it? If you're not serious, then why even pretend to be? I mean, okay, if you want to do the hookup thing, whatever, I don't stand for that. I believe that is dysfunctional behavior, but folks are playing around and dating. Folks are playing around in work. And I'm like, what are you doing it for? What are you moving towards? What is the intention? And I guess that's why this conversation is a polarizing one at some level, to say there's some who get it completely and others who are like, well, that's pretty extreme. Well, why would you cut off dinner? But you need community. If you are a dysfunctional individual and you throw yourself in the community, it don't matter how purified that community is. It can't do nothing for problems you're not willing to fix to begin with, and vice versa. What if the community is mentally ill? What's that going to do for you? It's always an individual thing, and then, right? Yes, we need each other as humans. Yes, we're interdependent, but most people are living codependently or dependently. And so, this brother right here, he's popping off.
Going on, any group of people, because, hey, if I'm around the wrong person, the wrong part of me might come out, right? I don't know if that makes sense, because if you understand what I'm saying, or you at least can relate to a little bit of what I'm saying, let me know in the comments below. So for me, it's just protecting my sanity, if that makes sense. So I sort of monitor who I'm around, and I'm a lot more picky with who I give my time and attention and energy to as I get older. And if you get picky about that stuff, a lot of times you're going to find your social circle of people shrinking and getting smaller and smaller. When you were 20 years old, you knew 50 people. When you were 35 years old, that shrunk down to about 35 people. But when you got to about 45 or 50 years old, now it's about 15, 20 people. And as you get older,
I'm 29 years old. My circle is a Cheerio at this point. Tiny. Which would have terrified the 16, 17, 18-year-old version of me. But again, leaving a lifestyle that I did, where I was on the dope, I was selling the dope, surrounded by individuals with that very same mentality. And I finally said, I can't do this anymore. I weaned myself off of it. I went cold turkey on not just the substances, but as well as the individuals. When I got to that place in my life, folks, I washed my hands of the entire situation. I washed my hands of it. And now, Cheerio. And I'm not just okay with that. I love that for myself. Sometimes I would have acquaintances. I would have, maybe people I do a little business with here, collaboration, blah, blah, blah. But there's a reservation for that place in my life. Even when I create this content, there's a level of distance that's there. I'm always myself, period. But you're not about to just get all of me and I'm about to divulge all of, what's going on behind these scenes. You don't get to just go into my family life just because you want to. That's not how that works. For me I have to know that I have to know that you're a lifer. I done had people who are supposedly lifers who had done me crazy types of dirty. And it made me reconsider everything. And I'm not jaded at this place in life, but I am discerning and I do judge. I do judge with a righteousness, quote unquote, to say, is this thing going to serve me and vice versa? Because sometimes I can't even serve you. So what's the purpose of me being in your life? Right? That's why I don't do the female friends. I'm in relationship. I have a fiance, soon to be wife. What's the purpose of that? Oh, you want to do business? Okay, what business? What business do we have doing? Okay, fantastic. Then it's on business lines. Oh, we're making content. Okay, fantastic. We're doing okay. Then it is what it is, and it's nothing beyond that. I'm cool on those. I'm cool on that. I used to shame myself for being that type of individual, but I said, you know what? To hell with what anybody thinks. I move how I move, and it's best for my life. And I feel a sense of freedom that I cannot explain in words alone. But y'all know that feeling when you free yourself from those toxic relationships for good. Oh my God, what a freedom.
That social circle of people shrinks. It gets smaller and smaller. Now, for some of you, you may be watching this and you may be 25 years old and can relate to what I'm saying, right? Everybody evolves differently. Now, let me explain a little deeper, right? Because I'm not really a loner type of person, right? I'm not the person that's always super duper introverted, right? But I can be. And oftentimes, I like to be. I don't see it as a bad thing to like being by yourself and having your own personal peace. It's a choice. It's not a bad choice or a good choice, but it's your choice, right? And people shouldn't make you feel bad about it. And people will try to make you feel bad about it, give you a little guilt trip. But for me, less friends equals...
Yeah, I remember when I started just going out truly by myself, to go to the beach by myself, to go to, the restaurant by myself or whatever it was. And people just look at you. They're like, they're wondering, what's in... a table for one, please. Are you waiting for somebody? No, it's me. It's me. I remember those moments, and it's not that they were pressuring or pushing anything, but there's a societal thing of, that sounds strange. It's weird. How could you by yourself, And then when you're on the other side of that, you're like, my God, I can, I don't have to drag everybody everywhere where I want to go. I always got to make a call. Hey, do you want to do this? Hey, you want to do that? Oh, I got this going on, that going on. Or going to things you don't want to go to just so you're not, quote unquote, left out. So they don't cut you out the front. Man, to hell with that. And people know that's how I am. So might extend an invite and be like, that's not my thing. They know that's not my thing. They won't even invite me to those types of things. They know what I'm into. So they might, tap in with me in respects to those other things. Otherwise, they just skedaddle. They leave my life, and that's perfectly fine. And so, yeah, I'm thankful that, this message is, I've seen videos of the same kind. I haven't watched them, but I've seen the titles, and it's showing me that we're in a place where, yes, there is a social shift that's taken place. Social media, et cetera, has changed the dynamics of our relationships, sometimes not for the best. But there also is a realization that, man, I didn't need the external validation in order to be with somebody. And that to me is a beautiful thing. I appreciate you for tapping into this video. And if you would like to show some love to the channel, make sure to click the link below titled Buy Me a Coffee, or you can send a Cash App, or, just keep showing up. I'll keep showing up, you keep showing up, and it'll be a beautiful thing. Till the next time, peace.
I fell in love with the sunshine. I fell in love with the light. I fell in love with the full moon. I fell in love with the night. I can see it